Alex here with part 11 of not the My Docket series, the Respondent, and this goes over chapter 11, which was much shorter, so this video will also be quite a bit shorter than the last. The first thing that he mentions that kind of jumped out at me is that his child apparently was sent over to him with a body cam on. If that's true, that is pretty out there. I have heard of people recording each other at exchanges, but I've never heard of people sticking a body cam to a child and sending them over. It does make me wonder, but without knowing the circumstances behind it, all I can say is it's a sign of very high conflict child custody for that to be something that one of the parents is doing. He talks about how parental alienation is child abuse. I agree with. I don't agree with that exact phrase. He says exactly, quote, parental alienation is child abuse, unquote. I don't agree with that, but I do agree that for parental alienation to occur, child abuse is not just one of it. The mechanisms or the techniques that are used by the alienator are child abuse, whatever it is that they happen to be doing. That's like above and beyond just telling the child lies about the other parent. They're manipulating the child by putting a proverbial gun to their head and saying, you are not going to be forming your own opinion on this. You're going to be accepting what I tell you about the other parent, or I will hurt you. And it doesn't necessarily mean physical violence. In fact, I think in most cases it doesn't. Often how parents do it is by withholding love and affection. This could be an and. They will flood the child with affection if they believe the lies that they're saying about the other parent. And so the child is trained either through negative reinforcement or positive reinforcement that they are supposed to believe these things. And if they do believe these things, the alienator will be nice to them, will love them, will give them what they want, will adore them. And if they don't believe these things, the alienator will classify them as an enemy, not on the same side. They will devalue them. They will abuse them in various different ways, possibly neglect them. So in my opinion, these different techniques that are used by alienators are in and of themselves child abuse. And that, manifests itself as parental alienation. There is a distinction there, though, and I like to talk about it because a lot of times people who turn this on its head and say that they're being alienated and that therefore the alienation is child abuse oftentimes can fall into the camp of a person who's been curtailed, like the judges curtailed their parental rights and the other parent isn't giving them extra time, and that since they aren't giving them extra time, they're alienating them, and since that they're alienating them, they're abusers. No, I don't believe in that at all. I have 3 videos where I explain why that doesn't make any sense. The World Health Organization calls parental alienation profoundly damaging to children. Based on my understanding and my explanation of parental alienation, you can tell that I agree with this. It is profoundly damaging. Child abuse in the general sense is profoundly damaging to children, especially systematic child abuse. In fact, he also refers to the term systematic alienation. In my opinion, all alienation is systematic. It's not like the other parent is just, okay, I hate your dad here, but now I like him again. No, it's like they're like a machine and they're like an automaton, just consistently, repeatedly, almost institutionally alienating that child. It's a long every single day sort of practice, like taking their pills, like you got to take your pills every day. They have to do a specific thing every day to inflict that particular bit of abuse or manipulation to get the outcome that they want, which is to alienate the child from the other parent. He talks about something that is so disturbing and that, if true, is really sad and would expose his ex if he could prove it. I mean, I don't know what he's done in court and if he has proven it in court or anything like that, but he says that his ex got a new dog that was a German Shepherd, that she told the children that the purpose of this new German Shepherd dog was to kill the dad if he came to the house. And apparently he says it mauled one of the children and that he wasn't told about it, and that now that child is traumatized towards dogs. That is something that stands out at me. But another thing that stands out even more is apparently he got a court order from the judge allowing the dog to come on exchanges. What do I think about that request? It's tricky because I could also see my ex trying to do the same thing, especially if she knew that I didn't like dogs or if I was allergic to them. But I don't know the circumstances of this case, so maybe that's not an issue. So maybe it's not a big deal. It does make me wonder. I mean, something like that could be a benefit, but it could also be used to create conflict, and I just don't know. But what I was going to say is that after the court order allowing the dog to exchange, it didn't take long, he says, for the dog to die. And he doesn't say how the dog died, and it kind of leaves things up for interpretation. I don't know if he's insinuating that the new dog killed that dog, because he did say that the new dog didn't like that dog. But I do want to say that that is something that's very alarming, and I would like to know more, but not to the point where I'm going to actually like order documents from the court or anything like that. I mean, it's on him, really. This is a book. The book's going to continue. I'm not done yet. Maybe he'll explain more in other chapters. The last thing that he says is the Constitution is suspended in family court. A lot of parents feel this way, and it's just not true. The thing is, there is this constitutional provision that is mentioned in a lot of federal case law, and some state case law too in certain areas, that the parent has a fundamental right to raise their children, which is true, they do. The problem that many people don't understand is that in a child custody action or a divorce action between both parents, natural parents, biological parents, that constitutional provision cancels itself out. Both parents have the right to raise their children. Both parents have that constitutional right, not just one, both of them. And so the court has to step in and decide how to divvy those rights up. So a lot of people will go into court and say, you just violated my constitutional right to raise my child. Well, guess what? Your ex has that right too. Both of you have that right. And that's where I think a lot of people think that the Constitution is suspended. It just doesn't apply in certain ways, in certain cases. Child custody cases and divorce actions where both parents are biological parents of that child, a lot of those constitutional provisions are not going to apply because they apply to both parents. In some cases, like termination of parental rights that's instituted by CPS, DCFS, which is the government, they do apply. You know, in cases where you have a non-parent, a third party, trying to get custody of a child, they do apply. You have sometimes guardianships where a non-parent's trying to get guardianship of a child over the objection of the natural parents. They apply there as well. So the Constitution is not suspended in family court. It's just suspended in the child custody cases and the divorce actions, in the sense that you can't really use it because it's a right that applies to both sides. You know, you raise it, they raise it too. So now what? You're stuck. You can't do anything. The court's going to have to enter some kind of order because both sides are no longer together. You can't raise the child at the same time if you are splitting up. So that's kind of where I hear that coming from. And in fact, we had a recent case in Nevada that published either a week ago or 2 weeks ago. If you go to the Our Nevada Judges Facebook and you scroll down and you read carefully, you should find the case where the Court of Appeals or the Supreme Court says that you can't use that constitutional argument because your ex has those same rights that you have. So the only thing you can do is follow the statute on the best interest factors. I mean, I'm sorry, but it's true. As much as it frustrates a lot of parents, those really powerful constitutional rights are not one-sided. So if you have any questions on this topic, on this chapter of the video, please don't hesitate to post them down in the comments below, and I will see you guys next time.